Hi and welcome everybody to PUBG Weekly. We're the show that will bring you the latest news within PUBG esports. We're going to be covering results from tournaments and leagues. We're also going to be showing highlights. We're going to try to teach you a little bit about the map and, of course, the latest news within roster changes. My name is Ross and I'll be your host for this week. Now, for today's show, we will be going through the final results of Global Loot League Season 3 for all regions, but also we'll be covering ESWC that was played during Paris Game Week. We'll also have Curse Trials October Edition, and last but not least, we also have Curse Trials. We'll also throw in a little segment, and it's gonna be me showing you around on the map. We're gonna be talking about buildings, we're gonna be talking about places to hold from, good compounds, rotation routes, everything you can imagine. Anyways, let's jump straight into it. All right, welcome everyone. We're gonna be talking about the GLL, CIS, plus the Turkey region. And looking at it, we have 3 slots from the whole season that will qualify for the LAN finals. And the 3 teams that made it through to the LAN finals will be Pubg, you have Avangard, and you have Team Unique. So we're gonna miss out on the previous season winners, which was season 1 was Navi and season 2 was M19. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting as well, like those teams didn't get through, I guess. Do you think the CIS region is just better than the normal, or it was last season, or do you think it's those teams would drop down?
Well, the thing is that both M19 and Navi has gone through a lot of roster changes, especially Navi. They only had 1 player from that original roster that was in the GLL Season 1 finals. That could have affected them a lot. All the new players also were like pretty late to come into the team. It was literally just before the season started, so they might have been struggling a bit, still struggling a little bit, but I think we'll see them come back strong later on though.
Yeah, I agree. It's roster changes, man. Like that, it happens, and you can't do much about it, and like it affects teams more than people realize. So we'll see them come back. Hopefully next season, hopefully better, and stronger. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, on that same note as well, like we saw a Vanguard picks up kind of a team of, I mean, they were called Random Friends because they were just a team of friends, right? I mean, that seems like a pretty strong pickup actually for Vanguard. That team seems to be doing really well.
Yeah. So what happened was you still had an active that was on the old Vanguard roster, and he created this new team together with the other guys, and they call themselves Random Friends. Later on, Vanguard dropped their old team and picked up this new team instead. But you also have Pubg, which might be a new name to a lot of people. They were previously under the name Quantum Bellator Fire, aka QBF.
So they're actually, like, just looking at the leaderboard now, actually, they're all really pretty close on kills. And it's only like placement points basically separating them. And actually, I'm just looking at it, first time I've seen this, but Avangard and Sarika, however you pronounce those guys, have the same placement points even. So it's actually really close at the top here.
And coming into the last week, we also had 2 teams that were fighting for those 3 land spots that was not in the top 3 already. The top 3 was coming into last week. It was Sarika, it was Avangard, and it was Team Unique. But you had M19 and Winside that was pretty close. And M19 had a really bad week. They were struggling a lot. Meanwhile, Winside was doing really good. They got themselves 2 out of the 4 games coming out with a chicken dinner. But it wasn't good enough in the end because Team Unique, they actually played really good themselves as well. They didn't get any chicken dinners, but they had really good placements, a lot of kills, putting themselves, I think it was 2nd overall for this week.
Awesome. So let's just check out some of the clips from CIS this week.
They're going to make a push on this, I think.
They're feeling it, man. They're feeling it.
They're 4-man strong, and they know that they got 1 knock. So they could possibly only be 3 players over there right now. They got a man advantage.
They have the potential to get 20 kills in this game if they play this one perfectly.
Look at the new circle. The new circle is going towards M19, actually, as well. It's moving to the east, the new circle.
Yeah, moving forward. Yeah, Best Luck is going to lead the charge. Stop it down a little bit right there. That's a good knock there from Doozy.
But yeah, Doozy get a knock on pin though.
Oh man, another good shot.
Another one. Oh, what a day! Are you kidding me? Oh wait, did Best Luck just get 3 players seriously that name?
I can't believe it. Oh, he does it again. That's the third time, and that's the money shot.
Yeah, that's what Clock is doing right now. He's taking a little bit of damage. Make sure he's taking a little bit too much damage. But you want to have one guy that's popping off first aid or medkit while being fully boosted. And you can only pop those off if you have taken damage. So that's why they went outside to take a little bit of damage. And you see in the bottom, you have Mr. Bader that has taken a little bit of damage. He's going to be the one who's going to be healing for Unique. And it looks like Winside is all going to be healing.
Oh, my God.
They don't know.
Oh, man.
Oh,
what is this ending? Let's see. I think it is going to be the guy. Yeah, indeed. It will be Winside, and they finally live up to their name.
Yeah.
Well. Not bad at all. 11 kills for them. And then Unique in second place.
Now, I haven't seen an ending like that in a long while. It's a little bit fun to watch as much as it's kind of boring to watch. Welcome back, everyone. And now we're going to look at the EU region instead of the GLL Season 3 and who actually qualified for it. So looking at the leaderboards here, right now, we can see that it is 7 different teams that will be moving on. The teams will be Team Liquid. We have Ninjas in Pyjamas, FaZe Clan, Besiktas Esports, Accelerate Gaming, El Gigante Gaming, and Knights, of course. Talking about it this week, the big thing I think that everybody was surprised about was that Knights actually managed to qualify because they were not doing good. They've been struggling the whole season. And in the end, they had a clutch win with 13 kills, which made them go through to the finals. I think they had like 3 kills to their advantage to going through there.
Yeah. The points are pretty close, right? But I think 3D Max had another bad week as well, which didn't help with their case. 3D Max, I think, have been performing really, really well recently. They've been smashing the GLL leaderboards. Why I say smashing, they've been sort of top 10 the whole time. And they've been in. I think they went from Bravo up to Alpha and then just stayed there, I think. But they've been in really well. And then on the last week, the most important week, they dropped down. And it sucks to see, but that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess.
Yeah, it's got to feel bad for them, but I mean, Knights did really well, I guess, in this final week when it mattered at the end of the day. The other sort of story to talk about, a lot of people watching Team Reciprocity, which is like Scoom and Shiv and Hexeti and Rafi, which is a relatively new lineup. But I'm sure people know about that team. But a lot of people watching them because although they were in Bravo, if they had really kind of pulled it out and the bottom couple of teams hadn't had very good weeks, there was a possibility of them getting in. But unfortunately, they didn't make it. They got pretty close, but they didn't.
They were actually really, really close. They had to have a really good week in the Bravo lobby to be able to qualify. And they managed in the first 3 games to get second place. But sadly, in the last game, they got a 12th place. And with that, they weren't able to qualify. Now, I'm not sure, but I think even though they would have won the last game, it wouldn't have been enough to beat Knights.
Just another one to pick up on if people haven't been kind of following all the kind of changes in names and things. Accelerate Gaming, that was previously Oin or One, which is Mikas and Trifeli and Rustamar and Squeaky. They actually had a bit of a rough week this week. I think it's fair to say that, but they've been performing really well generally over the seasons, and they just recently got invited to the close qualifiers as well for the Pro League. So that's another team that's kind of on the rise as well, which is really nice to see.
Another team to talk about would be Besiktas Gaming, which was previously Diamond Dogs, a Norwegian team. We've been seeing them a lot before, but they haven't really gotten themselves into the LAN finals or gotten themselves into any LAN so far. But after getting picked up by Besiktas, they've been showing strong. They are going to go to the GLL LAN finals. They're also invited to the PL close qualifier. So it's going to be fun and interesting to see them perform on LAN.
They didn't get a load of kills in GLL. They didn't got 82 throughout the whole season. So it's not a lot in comparison to the other top 6. But they've been getting the placement points they need, which is the most important thing.
And also just to mention, I think this happened during the season. It might have happened before the season, but Welcome to South George got picked up by Ninjas in Pyjamas. So Ninjas in Pyjamas is the old Welcome to South George roster. They did one change. They removed Larson and they picked up NBS instead. You also have Team Liquid, which recently picked up Jempty to their team. So the twins are now together and playing together. We also have FaZe, who made a few changes as well. They picked up Uba, and also a fourth player that is unknown right now. We don't know who the fourth player is going to be. We have some speculations. They've been playing with some different players, but we'll just have to wait and see who the fourth player is going to be for FaZe Clan.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these rosters all perform. I mean, Team Liquid have been doing really well with GemT in the lineup this week. They certainly kind of made their mark on the lobbies, and they actually finished the season 1,200 points above the next best team, which is huge. We're talking about Knights clutching the game. Let's watch the final game of the GLL EU season and see how Drayden clutched that win.
And the Knights crashing at the same time. Accelerate, get around the side. Tau0 gets there first. Rex Texas down, takes his helmet and his face with it. Liquid fight it out while he could maybe pop up and get something from this. Did he just see him? He's still in the blue now.
A lot of damage.
He's got to move. He's got to move. He's got to move. You got to get up. He's going to creep forward. Get to that push. Go down in the bush. Get down in the bush. He's going to go for it. He's going to get down it. And he's going to sweep out. Doesn't manage to finish him off. Will do it the second time. The pan saved him. Get a little push around the side now. Vard says Samty. This is a really good flank coming out from Vard as well. He's picked off the Liquid flank man. Miracle gets James down. It is just Ibiza left standing. He gets Miracle, gets a little pick on him. Not enough damage though. He's got to back away. Vard's going to make the push on him. Tries to go for the shots. Crouches instantly. Gets a glimpse of the shoot. Doesn't quite catch the head. And it's going to be Vard that will come out on top. It was very close. He was down to 13 health.
Still open to get to them.
The nade. Oh, there it is. Kajuti. A double nade. A triple nade coming out. Marman and Calvin Clark getting picked apart by NIP. They're up to 7 kills and counting.
Working together against NIP now. They want to get
6 teams alive in this small circle.
Oh, he gets another one.
Gets the head of Miracle. They may have had a lot of kills, but they are getting picked apart coming down the hillside. MBS goes down. That nade right on top of you. At the same time, Tomo got Great People Only down in 3rd place.
Smoke as deep as possible.
They know that tree's where they're at. They're trying to nade it. Have they got the range? This time it looks like they might. That's a big nade from Texas, from downtown. Looks towards double. The nades come through. Zuppa's down. Double gets picked off. It's just the man that's amongst them in the smoke. Kajuran gets around the side, tries to peek on them. He can see he's finding them, but Kramer will catch him out.
Welcome back, everyone. Now we're going to take a look at the Americas region for the GLL Season 3. And looking at it, the teams who qualified will be Wildcard Gaming, Optic Gaming, Dignitas, Envy, E-United, Team Ready. That's the 6 teams. We only have 6 slots here compared to Europe. Now, one of the biggest things this week that I think was on everybody's mind and still is how it all ended for the 7th slot for the LAN finals. We actually had a tie between Team Ready and Ghost Gaming coming into the last game there. And they tied on the same points. So the tiebreaker for that will be the most placement points, which was Team Ready, who has most of them. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because like this game is a survival game, placement is survival. So I get it, right? Obviously, some people might be pissed, but it's just how it is. That's just the way the cookie crumbles again.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say it's a controversial ending, but I don't think it really is. I saw a few people who were saying that maybe, Kills, they feel like Kills would have been a more exciting ending. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we're all on the same page with placement making sense. And it's in there in the GLL rules. No one can complain that they kind of picked a number or decided, it's been in the rules probably since season 1 that the tiebreaker is going to be placement points, so I think it's fair. It's got to suck for Ghost Gaming, obviously, but yeah, at the end of the day, the rules are the rules, and that's how it goes.
Now, we also have seen a few roster changes. The most recently one would probably be in the Dignitas for this region, where Wookie Bookie and Gustav is no longer part of Dignitas, and instead they picked up Purdy Curdy and Alo. We also have some other things that is going on. We saw that Extreme 2G was standing in for Wildcard Gaming during this week. I don't think it did it the previous week.
No.
So that's also something new to keep in mind. We don't know exactly what's going to happen there. We also have Envy, who was playing with Interrogate. He played the previous week as well, or 2 weeks ago when the previous game week was for GLL. Yeah, also Ghost Gaming. We saw that they picked up Frolic here lately, and right now we saw in this week they were playing with Drassel as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like the fact that Drassel's playing with them. We'll see where that goes. But yeah, overall, there's been a few rush changes. Obviously, Yeah, roster change is going to happen because people are underage, and then obviously, teams want to change rosters ready for Pro League, and
yeah, I mean, unlike EU, we haven't had the qualifiers for the NA Pro League yet, so the teams haven't been forced to make their choice, as it were. So I guess it makes sense for people to go and play with different people, especially in a tournament like GLL where it's like the highest level tryout you can do, right? Welcome to the big leagues, and let's see how you do. So it makes a lot of sense.
All right, I think that's it for the Americas for this week. So let's take a look at some highlights from this week's games.
Like playing cities on this.
Dignitas, they're going to close in on Stampa.
Oh, that's one. That's two.
Oh my God, it's 3 of them straight away. He's going to flush them.
Time to get moving. Oh, but he's been tagged. He's been tagged. He can't take any more hits. They've lost the tire, and he's going to get picked apart here. The Australian for wildcard is not doing so great right now. Oh, good tags! He just turns around and absolutely leather Zampa with the mutant. You don't like that, do you?
Oh, what? Are you kidding me? Did you see that shot?
Place. They're getting pursued at the moment, so getting the kills there. And now this is disaster for FlyQuest. They've had such a good Erangel. Exco gets around the fight, finds himself a shot onto Zampa. The support comes in. Lost HD has been playing so well, but Iroh, team ready with the Kar98 from range.
Oh, shots are coming in. They might have an... Oh, he spots him. Purdy Curd is going to take down Tony V. And now it's a 3 versus 2. FlyQuest versus Dignitas. Nice shots coming in here from Purdy again. The new player from Dignitas with 7 frags so far. He's probably also going to be able to get this one finished off. Microstar on the flank. He's going to get taken down one and taken down by Purdy Curdy with 2 kills. He has 9 in total.
Okay, so having a look at the Esports World Cup, which was held at Paris Games Week, PUBG tournament for 50,000 euros. It ended up with Penta winning, Ninjas in Pajamas coming in second, Reciprocity coming in third, 3D Max coming in fourth, and Havu coming in fifth. Now, it had a little bit of a weird qualification. Basically, there was 12 invites for teams, and then there was also 4 qualification slots, which were done basically if you won one of the qualifier rounds, you got a slot into the LAN, which is a little bit of a weird way to do it. We normally see a lot more qualified teams, a lot less invited teams, but it was a bit more of a kind of a show event, I guess, as well. Yeah, Hayes, you commentated at the English stream for that. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, qualifiers were kind of weird. Also, one of the teams that were invited didn't go, so they invited Players Origins, who came second in one of the qualifying groups. There wasn't a lot of tier 1 teams. Obviously, you got Reciprocity, NIP, Penta, just to name a few. And then there was a lot of other teams, some teams that had a lot of substitutes, a lot of roster changes as well. Obviously, Reciprocity having a pretty new lineup, but you could kind of tell between the teams that had a lot of experience at LAN events previously and teams that don't really have that much experience. You could kind of tell by how they play. There was a lot of centering, a lot of centered meta, which kind of tells me that they're not that confident in playing a very loose style, which is what obviously Penta, NIP, and Reciprocity like to play. So it tells a lot about their confidence and experience. But obviously, as they progress, as they continue, they'll get more confident. But it's just this event was very sort of strange in terms of the meta.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, you've played at LAN events yourself. It's something that people talk about, the LAN jitters, especially if you're one of these like newer teams, or as you say, just a team that's never been to LAN before. Do you think that kind of showed in the play as well? Because we can see it wasn't a particularly close tournament. I think that's fair to say. It was close around somewhere between the sort of 4th and 6th-ish. But I mean, the top Penta and NMP to some extent kind of dominated, and they're most of those players have been to LANs together. They've kind of got that jitters out of the way. Do you think that's part of the reason?
I would say being at LAN and being surrounded by your opponents as well is kind of a weird thing. And obviously your teammates, you're not used to having people next to you playing. Apparently it was also quite cold, in fact, very cold. You regularly saw a lot of the players having their coats on with their scarves on. They were like sat there with their hand warmers. So that can play into effect as well. Obviously, some teams might be more prepared than others, but
it's just not the same as playing home, is it? At the end of the day, more to think about. And yeah, we saw Penta with a pretty dominating performance. I think they got a couple of 20 bombs. They finished the final 2 games. They got 18 kills and then 22 kills. So they were clearly in their stride. Playing really confidently. And in fact, I think we can go through game 14 now, which we've got some footage of. Just have a look at that and see how Penta played in the final stages of this event.
Game 14, yes. So Penta loot farm, essentially. Farm and West Farm. Once they finish looting, they split the dirt road north of farm and the South Pachinki Barns. I guess that's for more info. We don't exactly know why. My guess it's for more info and more space and more options. So the second circle shifts. They rotate. They stop at the South Pachinki Hill for more info gathering to scout ahead. They decide to move to Pachinki Church after they've scouted. They realize it's free. Third circle, they move and scout North Pachinki Ridges from where they were on the church. They scout that. They realize it's free. They take that and then essentially just go on from there.
Okay, so Penta are holding like the south side of the circle here then. I mean, what do you think about the position that they've got at the moment?
It's pretty much like it's probably one of the best spots they could be in right now, because obviously with this being phase 3, the next shrink is going to go away from water, and then they essentially just control their area and make sure they're picking their fights wisely, not overextending too much, and just clear their side, which is really good.
So we can see Penta's like splitting up. They're taking some shots on either side. They're playing pretty confidently, would you say? They seem to be like controlling a lot of the south side of the area here. Do you think that's just because at this point they know the competition, or do you think that's just the right way to play regardless of the competition?
Oh yeah. I mean, they're just splitting essentially so they can cover as much ground as possible and deny as much ground as they can to the other teams. That's what you want to do in this kind of situation where you have so much of the south side of the circle. Whichever side of the circle you have, you want to be denying area from other teams as much as you can without obviously overextending too much and getting knocked, and then your teammates have to come back and help. Yeah, they're playing it really well though. They're essentially using the buddy system to 2-2 split. So one watches west, one watches east, and take small little fights, do some damage, and essentially tell people to back off.
Yeah, kind of make themselves known. Looking at the map, you can see there's actually quite a few teams on that south side. Could they potentially have just got wiped here if 2 teams pushed west, or do you think that the position they've got is strong enough that it's still going to kind of succeed?
Well, I think a lot of the stuff around them is quite open. There's not much to cover yourself on the push with, so it's a very risky push. I don't think anyone's going to be bothered. They want to try and just wait out until teams die. They don't want to force themselves into a fight.
So, I mean, the circle's gone south, as you said. Like, it was relatively obvious, I think, to most teams it was going to do that. You can't rely on it, but, you got to play around the best averages, right? I think it's pretty clear that Penta were kind of hoping for that, expecting that, holding that south side area. And they have, like, way more control of terrain than sort of any other team here.
It's a super strong position because they had 2 circles out before this, right? So they know that most people are pushed into the ruins, into Watertown, and they essentially just hold their own area. Everyone third parties each other, and they just essentially pick up the pieces.
They are playing really aggressive, like holding outside the circle, kind of taking these fights. Potentially, as the circle starts to move, if you get knocked kind of far out from the safe zone, that can be pretty risky. I like to see the confidence out of them, I guess. And I guess they're feeling pretty good about, obviously they're in a winning position in the tournament at the moment, so they're feeling good about it. But I guess that comes into like the mentality of playing in a tournament against people that you feel like you can outfrag and beat and that sort of stuff.
And again, it goes back to teams not feeling so confident because they have substitutes, or they have a new roster, and they're just they're trying to feel things out and trying to get that synergy going. Whereas Penta, I mean, I've seen this sort of movement done by a lot of the top teams like Liquid, your phases. They all spread out when they have the opportunity to. They all spread across the circle and essentially just wipe their own area, so that they give themselves so much more space and so many more angles on the other teams coming out into the zone.
I mean, I think this pretty much wraps it up, right? Everybody has to move out of ruins. They have to, come out. Penta end up taking the kills. I mean, we can just let the clip play out for the very final couple of kills. But
pretty much. They get the Eastern shift they needed. Everyone has to push out, and everyone kills each other.
That's going to be very, very impressive playing coming in from them.
I mean, 2v4. Obviously, outpositioned as well. They have no cover to work with, so I doubt it's going to happen. If Hoffman just kills himself for the zone,
that's not going to be.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's not how you want to win these games, I guess.
No, yeah.
And
so
they get a
Jones,
kill though. Are they not? Does he have ghillie suit on?
He does. He does. Yeah, he does have a ghillie suit.
They don't see him at all. There's a spray on one, and
okay, welcome back, everyone. We're gonna be taking a look at the Curse Trials October edition that was played this week, and we had the finals with 3 teams standing in the top. In the end, it was on first place we had M19, second place Team Envy, and third place Tempo Storm. Congrats to those teams. Now, what do you think about this, Hayes?
It was surprising to me, since obviously M19 hadn't actually qualified for GLL LAN, that they actually do well in this one. That they do their standard sort of higher placement, low kills kind of thing. The most kills they got was in game 5 with 12 kills. But they I think they were pretty much like top, I don't know, I guess top 7. Yeah, their lowest placement was 7th. So yeah, again, like they're just super consistent, but just not that many kills. But that's the aim of the game, isn't it? Right?
Yeah. So the team that fell short in this Curse Arrows would be Wildcard Gaming. They got 4th place, but they were pretty close to getting that 3rd place. Now we've seen them, as we previously mentioned, in the GLL Americas region. They got 1st place. So they've been looking really strong. What do you think about them?
Yeah, no, I agree. They've been really strong so far. They had a really bad placement, like a last place in game 2, 16th place with no kills. So obviously that's gonna hurt them a lot. When it's the best of 6.
Yeah.
It's really punishing. That hurt them a lot, and that's very, very, really uncharacteristic of them. Maybe they just got unlucky. Happens, but they just missed it by an inch. Yeah.
Also, one of the biggest upsets was actually in the qualifiers in Group A, where we had Team Liquid coming in on 9th place. They were just a kill short, though. That is a really bummer. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, 8 points short of qualifying for the for the finals, right? It kind of sucks. They nearly made it on the last game as well. They got 3rd with 19 kills. If they won that last gunfight, I think it was like a 3rd-party situation where they started a fight, and then the 2nd place team came in and just like cleaned up. It's rough. But if they got one more kill, as you said, like it would have been a whole different story.
Yeah, I mean, it could have come down to just a knock somewhere before in one of the previous games that got stolen and so on. But yeah, I think that sums up the curse for this month. So with that, let's take a look at the highlights.
Off of in that position is El Gigante going to be bombing this compound along with Team Liquid right at the same time. But it's going to be Santi spraying him down with a Scar, getting not 1, but 2 knocks on the Deegs and Hugstar.
That's exactly what they needed to happen there. They were shooting at Ibiza as he came in, but he ducked into that building immediately, and Samty from behind his Dacia sprayed down too. And that's going to be Team Liquid with authority taking this compound.
But certainly not what Lockwood wanted to have happen, rolling up on him, especially with him outside in the bushes. He's going to be missed altogether because, hey, Space Station Gaming, they're worried about the evil geniuses. And Wolf, he's going to be cooking up here in the 2nd story. The flames are too much, and he's going to be knocked. A follow-up grenade from Vexel will be finding its connection on top of Nomi. 2 players down, 1 left. Trevor for evil geniuses.
Really, really solid take there by Space Station Gaming. Oh my god! The fail nade killed Lockwood.
Vexel's got to be so confused right now. Where did this kill come from?
He's looking for the shot here. No, just gonna decide to play passively.
What? Man, this is unfortunately one of the bugs that players have been talking about with the motorcycles.
I think we're gonna have time, but Tempo Storm senses the urgency, and they're gonna push over. Nades are out.
I mean,
that's pretty far.
That was a good nade right on top of him. It's a 1v2v1 in favor of Tempo Storm now.
For an easy kill there. And Caden managing to down Dre, but getting traded by Maluk there with that SLR at the very end. Really well played by all 3 of these teams in the late game, honestly.
Welcome, everyone. And now we're going to be taking a look at the PUBG Online NA Showdown Season 2 that just started. Now, we have one interesting fact coming into this is that they're not using a real point system as we're usually see. They've been going with a cash point system, which means that every night they'll be, every round, they'll be handing out $1,000 to the teams. And as you can see on the screen right now, this is how they will split it. So it's really top heavy. 1st place, 300, 2nd place, 200, 3rd place, 150, 4th place, 55, and so on. Now, also, you get $3 for every kill you get. And in the end of the season, the team who has collected the most money will also get a bonus of $3,000. 2nd place will get $1,500, and the 3rd place, $500. Now, if we look at the results here for this week, we had Ghost Gaming on the top with $689 in total. They got himself a win and 2 third places and a bunch of kills and a little bit of other placements. We also have Pyro Gaming on second place with earning of $534. Duel on third place with 514. Optic fourth place 493, and Envy on fifth place with 439. Now, what do you think about all this, Crimson? This is a lot to take in now.
Yeah, so I actually really like it a lot. I think there's a lot to be said for having a tangible dollar amount for kills and, look, I won $300 for getting first place, right? So I do think that's nice. Maybe it's potentially a little bit too top heavy, but overall, I think it's nice to see a different system. When you look at like points and you try and add points up in your head and that sort of thing, it's not as exciting as saying that you won X amount of money, during the tournament or during the week.
Yeah, what's really good about it, I'd say, is that no matter where you're placing on the leaderboards coming into like the last day of playing, you will still want to go for the wins, right? You still want to get those extra money for every chicken dinner or every good placement. So in one way, that's really good. But at the same time, I think it's maybe a little bit too top heavy, I'd say.
Yeah, and we've seen in other TOs, although there isn't a LAN final scheduled for the Season 2 of Showdown, as far as we know. But we've seen it in other TOs where qualifying for a LAN, for example, if you're 16th or 15th and there's no chance of you qualifying for a LAN, you can sometimes see those teams towards the end of the season, not try their hardest. Sometimes they don't even turn up to the games. So this way, no matter what, you should turn up every single week because that there's a chance you can make. Look at Ghost, like over $600, right?
Not just turning up, but also playing good.
Yeah,
but
that's true. You actually have to win some chicken dinners.
Yeah, and with that said, I think we're going to move on and look at some highlights from this week's games of PUBG Online NA Showdown Season 2.
Junior, something's barely holding on. He pushes one right out of the safe zone, but barely held on by the smoke and a little bit of luck. Is right next to him. Surely he won't. Surely he will. He will not.
You are going to be quite in contested plays as Uncivil's gonna run over Prodigy. Can he get the kill though? They're gonna try to body block this with the vehicles. Uncivil is now in a demolition derby, trying to find this one player. Can he do it? This is beautiful.
This is Pyro trying to block Dignitas.
Push him over!
Yes, push the Dacia into their fallen teammate. It's going to be doing some damage, but not the intended effect. Look at Dignitas and Civils and Adam trying to do whatever they can here to run over Prod, and ultimately they are able to find the first blood of game number 3 with the vehicle on top of Prodigy.
Could you have asked for a better first blood? And now, well, Dignitas is going to roll out of there.
If I left as a solo here, we will have one other solo as we see Tony V with a long range shot. What a shot. That's why he's one of the best bolt action snipers in this game.
But Sharky is now close enough to where he's going to be hearing these vehicles approach, and if PackCaps continues on this direction, he's going to be running right into Sharky, and Sharky's going to be spraying him down. Pops out of the vehicle just in time, and down goes Sharky to the M416 of PackCaps. Not what I thought was going to happen there, Fiorme.
Well, everybody, that is going to do it for this first episode of PUBG Weekly. But as it says in the title, PUBG Weekly, that means we're going to be coming back next week with more content for you. Next week, we are going to be discussing Pro League qualifiers up and down, top to bottom, everything you could hope to talk about. The MEA region should be wrapping up about that time, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into the EU Pro League qualifiers, as well as touching on PUBG Online Showdown Series, which will still be going on now. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We want you to know that if you find there's a lot of PUBG going on, there's a lot of competitive PUBG going on. That's why we're able to do this as a weekly show. But if you see clips from PUBG competitive play that you think warrant attention from the boys, from Crimson, Hayes, Froz, from myself, please submit them to the email address below, listed in the description, and we will try to get to those with credit to you going out as well. Also, this is our first pilot episode. This is the first time we're doing this. So if you have any comments, any suggestions, anything that you would like to see going forward, be sure to hit us up in that email address in the comments below the for the YouTube video, or at our Twitter, PUBG_weekly. on Twitter at PUBG_weekly. But guys, again, that's going to do it for us tonight. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.